Hello, everyone. This is Mike from Dimensional Walking. So this is the time of the year that everybody gets out and starts their prophecies. The psychics start their prophecies. I put out a little bit of a prophecy before the beginning of the new year. Anyways, I ran across, and I guess I've heard about her in the past, and her name is Baba Vanga, and she's a Bulgarian. And when she was 12 years old, she had a very tragic event that caused her to go completely blind. And the story goes is that when that happened, simultaneously when that happened, she was given this gift from the heavens, I guess, this clairvoyant gift to see the future. Okay? So since she was 12 years old, she's been making prophecies for the years in the future. Okay? So people seem to get interested in her at the very end of a year, looking into the future of the next year. So this year is 2022, next year is 2023. So I want to talk about a few of her predictions for 2023 and just look at her in general. Anyways, so we're going to call this, by the way, we're going to call this video Alien Attack Prophecy from the Nostradamus Woman. And that's also what they call her, the Nostradamus Woman. And she's had, she's been doing this, or she was doing this again since she was about 12. And then she did die. She did pass away in, I believe it was 1995. Okay, but during those years from 12 until she died, there was quite a bit of time for her to put these prophecies for the future. Very similar in many ways to Nostradamus himself, and that's why I guess they called her the Nostradamus Woman. So we're just going to pretty much just talk about her prophecy coming into 2023. There will be other ones going forward. I think it's quite a few years she goes forward. Not all of them have 3 or 4 per year or whatever. We're going to talk probably about 5 or so that she did for 2023. So, anyways, so let's just talk about her prophecies for 2023. Number one, there's going to be this huge solar storm that's going to increase the radiation levels on Earth to a very profound level that, of course, would have great effect on all parts of our life, both living and non-living parts of Earth. And that was going to happen this next year. Then here's a really interesting one for all you UFO and alien fans. She's making a strong prediction that this is the year the aliens, a group of aliens, will attack the Earth, and millions of people would perish. I have to be honest with you. I've heard that, being in this paranormal UFO alien type genre for 50 plus years, I've heard that quite frequently, that was going to happen. Do I think it will? I'd say no, probably not. Okay. There seems to be more UFO paranormal activity this year and probably coming into next year. And there's a lot of people talking about it and seeing UFOs, and the government seems to be extra interested in it all of a sudden. So something's probably going to happen. Are we going to be attacked and millions of people will die? I doubt that highly. But, let's wait and see. 2024 comes in, we can say, no, she was wrong. Thank God. Okay. So number 2, Baba's number 2 is powerful superpowers will in the world will do some additional experimentation in bioweapons, and probably use them in some type of war scenario. And I guess we can kind of look what's going on in Ukraine and in Russia-Ukraine war, or I guess kind of our World War III, as we want to call it, or some people will call it. And who knows, maybe something will develop out of that. Let's hope not, but it seems to be getting to a very extreme extent, getting into a weird place. Okay. Number 3, Baba said the Earth's magnetic field will weaken, and of course that would be tied in with the a solar storm, and she's calling it a solar tsunami would hit. Now, if the magnetic field does weaken, and I've heard people say that it is at this point, that prophecy could easily become true. That we could have something like a solar tsunami. I've never heard it called that, but it probably fits pretty well. That the power grids would be overwhelmed, and that would kind of put us back into the caveman days pretty quickly. I mean, we'd probably be able to climb out of it, but it would take some time to get out of it. So that's a possibility, because of the simple fact that, I've heard that the magnetic fields are weakening, and I think that is probably true. By how much, I don't really know, but I think that's a possibility. And remember, I'm not sure which minute she predicted that, but if she predicted it back 40, 50, 60 years ago, that would be a pretty profound prophecy. So, okay, then for some reason she's saying that the Earth's orbit in 2023 will be altered. And she's saying that there's something going to happen from the cosmos that's going to put the Earth's orbit into jeopardy, meaning it's going to be changed, it's going to be altered. Now, that is a possibility, and it doesn't really take too much to do it. It could be, some kind of a weird planet. I don't want to use the word Planet X because I don't particularly believe in Planet X, but some kind of a planet or something going close to us could alter our alter our orbit, and of course that would put tremendous amount of change in things like climate change. That could change it from where it's going right now to a warming phase, could go to a cooling phase, and that could change a lot of things. But she isn't really talking directly about climate change, but I could see that it could definitely affect it in many ways if she's true that something's going to change the orbit. Okay, so number 5, she's talking about in 2023 that humans are going to be manufactured in like a factory setting, meaning that instead of having babies in mothers, we are going to have babies basically in test tubes. And you're going to go to your local factory, or baby factory, I guess is what she's trying to say, and you're going to pick out the eye color and all this other stuff, eye color, height, weight, gender, and they're going to, after X number of months or whatever, how long it takes in a factory, they're going to come out and there'll be a baby waiting for you when that happens, when the baby is to a mature level. So I doubt highly it's going to happen this next year. I really do. I don't think we're far enough advanced, but I think we are on our way. And even if it doesn't happen next year and happens 5 years from now or 10 years from now, I believe it will happen. And depending in her, when Baba predicted this, if it was early in her life, that is pretty profound, because she would have, that would have been 40, 50 years ago or more, for her to see that much into the future and actually see these baby factories would have been pretty profound, I think. I have to give her that one to her, even if it happens 5 years, 10 years down the road. So, okay. So, and then I guess the last one, I guess I'm going to tell you about 5. I guess my numbers came out right, but this is number 5. She said there would be a power plant that would explode, resulting in poisonous clouds which are likely to blanket the whole continent of Asia in a thick smog. And then she said that the serious infections that spread to other nations as a result of this issue. Well, here's the thing. I don't know when she predicted this, but let's just make an assumption because we have some possible dangers in Ukraine in that power plant, a nuclear power plant, that in theory could explode and send out some clouds of a kind of a radioactive smog that of course could affect Asia to some extent, but I would guess it'd probably be more like Europe. But who knows? I mean, if something like that would happen, I guess I'd have to say that she was fairly accurate on that if it happened in the next couple of years. Let's hope not. I mean, these are pretty negative. All of hers were pretty negative predictions. She also makes a prediction for 2028 that I thought was interesting, and I'll mention it. Again, it's not for 2023. But she said that an astronaut would land on Venus in 2028. Now, this one I doubt. Let me tell you why I doubt this pretty highly. First of all, we got to get back to the moon, and that may happen fairly quickly, right? And then we have to go to Mars before we go to Venus. We haven't really been hanging out at Venus at all, and we haven't been hanging out. We have had some landing, some unmanned craft landing on Mars. But I think Mars would be before Venus for sure. And who knows? 2028 could be a good date for Mars. We'll see. We'll see. And one of the things I had predicted, just a little sidebar, is that I don't believe that aliens will allow us to actually, build a colony there in Mars. Now, they may let us land to look around a little bit like they did on the moon, but I doubt highly that they will let us build a colony. And I've already done a video on that, kind of addressed to Elon Musk, since he seems to be the guy that's leading the charge on that. Landing and actually building a colony on Mars, as most of you probably know. So anyways, I don't think it's going to be allowed, or there'll have to be a heavy negotiation to that effect with the aliens, between aliens and our government and probably Elon Musk. Who knows? And who knows, he may try to pull it off. Yeah, so that's kind of a silly sidebar, just so you understand. I'm not being overly serious about that, but there may be something to it. We'll see. And then finally, this comes up over and over again. For some reason, she believes the Earth will end, the existence of the Earth, or existence of all life on Earth, I guess, on the year 5979. And that comes up over and over again in her prophecies. She keeps on repeating that. So I don't know what that really means. And guess what? None of us are ever going to know or honestly really care that would be the end. But it's always interesting when they always pick this one year or one date, and they push it. So anyways, I guess we'll see. We'll see. Well, we won't see, but somebody will see maybe. So even though couple things here. Even though Baba, over her years of predictions, many of her predictions haven't come true. Okay, in the years that they should have come true. Okay, that's probably the good news, because she has some pretty negative type scenarios, predictions. Okay, but I will tell you this: she has hit some, and that's probably what gave her some credibility. Okay, I'll give you some examples. In 1989, she did predict that sometime in the near future, after 1989, there would be this attack, some kind of she described it similar. It wasn't exact by date and etc. on the 9/11 the 9/11 attacks. She put in some kind of words, but you could easily see by the way she put it about the structures being hit, by birds or steel birds or something to that effect. It seems odd, but I guess she meant airplanes, and I don't know why she just didn't say airplanes, but she didn't. But anyways, it did happen. Everybody seems to give her that one for sure. Okay, and she also predicted in 1979 that Putin would become the president or the head of this I guess at that time it would have been called the Soviet Union, and that did happen in 2018, as you probably know. So I think most people are giving her that one too. That was a pretty long projection. I think she did say in 2018. Actually, I think that's how it read. That guy Putin would win, and that Putin was around, but he was nobody basically in 1979. So that one everybody gives. I give it to her too. And then in 1980, she talks about a town in Russia on the coast, I think it was on the Black Sea, if I'm not mistaken. And she talks about it's going to be submerged and this and that and everything else. So it looked like some kind of a strange disaster was going to happen, and a couple hundred people would die. So what happened here is in the year 2000, and I do remember this happening. There was this submarine that I think it was a nuclear submarine that actually was lost right off the coast of this particular city. I think it was Krishna. And anyways, it sounded sort of like a possibility that was correct. I give her a half point on that one. And of course, people did die. It was a pretty tragic situation. And it was close to that city, so maybe that's what she was seeing. And I think I remember there was a lot of memorial services in that city, etc. So I guess we give her half a point on that one. And then in 2008, she predicted that the 44th president would be a black president, and of course that's true. That was Obama, so she gets full credit on that. So, but anyways, there was quite a few of them that were pretty iffy in the past. So I guess the reason I say this is that she seems to have some credibility. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, everything that came out of her mouth basically did not come true, which I guess in some of these predictions for 2023, I guess we should all be happy that is the case. So anyways, I just want to make a comment. I did this video because I thought it was kind of interesting about her. And again, this is the time of year everybody gets their prophecies going and for the following year. And I do the same thing. So at the very end of the year, like right around the first of next year, I do come out with my own predictions, and I actually grade my predictions from last year, which would be 2022's predictions that I had made the year before, to see how good I do. Typically, I do 50 to 60% are correct. And that's pretty. That ain't bad. It ain't great, but it ain't bad. And mine are pretty specific, more specific than some of these that I even gave her credit for. So anyways, we'll see how I did this year. Maybe I didn't do so good. I don't really remember. I kind of do them and then I just put it aside, and then I'll go back and listen to my video, and you can do the same thing. Of course, you can go to last year's at the very end of the year. You'll see my prophecy video, and see how I did, and then you'll see the new one. Anyways, I will go through and grade them. It's something fun to do. Sometimes I've hit them really, really good. And it's kind of shocking even to me. So, anyways, with all that said, thank you. And as Roy Rogers says, happy trails until we meet again. And if you like us, we need your subscriptions. We like to make a couple cents on this someday. So we need your hours. We need your viewing hours, of course, too. And if you want to send us a private email, it's dimensionalwalking@gmail.com. You can comment here. You can like us here. Anyways, that's it. Thanks a lot. We'll see you. Bye-bye.